Here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
And a good evening to you. We have partly cloudy skies across the Cape Fear at this hour. Temperatures are mostly in the low to mid 30s across the region. A look at the forecast as we head into the overnight. We're going to see scattered clouds and freeze in most communities as we'll be dropping all the way down into the low 20s. But look at these wind chills. As you head out the door in the morning, it could feel more like 10 to 15 degrees, so bundle up. We'll have a look at the late week weather forecast, plus some possible winter weather Friday night in just a bit. Your news at 11 starts right now.
You're watching WWAY News at 11.
Tonight on WWAY News at 11, with a long streak of at or below freezing overnight temps in the forecast, how a small army of volunteers are ensuring everyone has a warm place to lay their head. Plus, why North Carolina's Attorney General is suing 6 landlords across the state, including 2 in the Cape Fear. And later, we'll have an update on the fierce wildfires in California affecting thousands of Los Angeles residents. Thanks for joining us tonight for WWAY News at 11. I'm Jeff Rivenbark. As we prepare for below freezing temps tonight, the warming shelter ILM is opening its doors for unhoused individuals who may need to escape the cold. WWAY's Keelan Berrien was there tonight. He joins us live in our studio. Keelan, anything new happening at the shelter?
Yeah, Jeff. Meg McBride, organizer of the warming shelter ILM, says they've decided to extend days of operation to Wednesday, January 15th. However, they need a few more volunteers to lend a hand. Every night when temperatures drop below freezing, the warming shelter ILM is introduced to new faces. And this sanctuary makes sure everyone gets the help homeless individuals may need.
What I'm seeing happening is people will come one time and then they come back and they want to do it again, which I love.
Folding clean towels with me is Pastor Meg McBride, organizer of the warming shelter ILM, which is at Grace United Methodist Church in downtown Wilmington.
The volunteer slot's structured into specific roles, and each role then is for just a short period of time, maybe 2 to 3 hours.
McBride tells me she has extended operation days for the shelter to Wednesday the 15th. At first, the last day was Saturday the 11th, but they need some extra helping hands.
Our core volunteers have been with us for many, many years, and so they come from my church, they come from here at Grace.
McBride says help is needed in the laundry room, the morning team to make breakfast and coffee, and even the closing team cleaning the shelter on his last day.
Yeah.
Well, this right here that we did, this is easy.
I know, right? This is an easy job, right? This is the laundry for a mobile shower trailer, which is out front. We're going to be firing that up in a little bit, and we'll probably do 40 or 50 showers tonight.
The volunteers love it. Just hear it from Wendy Bailey.
I don't think I've missed one day. Every since 4 years we've been open, you get to see where some changes could be made. We don't have the answers because this is not long-term housing. This is just a Band-Aid over the problem.
At most, these folks get a thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay, because the rewarding feeling at the end tugs at their hearts. So again, volunteers are needed for morning shifts and the closing shift. If you would like to help, you can find the sign-up link under this story on our website, WWAYTV3.com. Jeff?
Thank you, Keelan. Due to cold temperatures overnight, Bladen and Columbus County schools, as well as Whiteville City schools, will all operate on a 2-hour delay tomorrow morning. New Hanover County Schools says they were told by state officials about a student data breach. The State Department of Public Instruction reports a data breach involving PowerSchool, which manages the state's student information system. The breach stemmed from PowerSchool's administrative tools, which is beyond the control of the Department of Public Instruction or local schools. New Hanover County Schools is working with PowerSchool to assess the impact of the breach and to safeguard data. Several senior residents in Southport are still without a place to stay after their apartments were flooded by a major storm 4 months ago. 8 residents of the Brunswick Village apartments are still waiting to return to their home. 80-year-old Dorothy Wade says she lost everything in the storm. Westminster Property Management told her she could return to her apartment in December, but she was never allowed to go back. We reached out to Westminster, who said the building was still not safe to open back then. They say they will open the building to residents next week. The Cape Fear Public Utility Authority Board censured a board member at today's meeting. Many board members expressed their displeasure with Leslie Hudson. It's unclear what the censure was about. However, last month, Hudson allegedly left a disparaging voice message for Representative Ted Davis. The message allegedly criticized Davis and his legislative assistant after Davis voted to override Governor Roy Cooper's veto of Senate Bill 382, which reduced the powers of certain executive branch officials just weeks before those offices were taken over by Democrats. We reached out to the CFPUA spokesperson for comment, who said Hudson was not removed from the board. For the second time this year, the Bladen County Health Department has confirmed another rabies case, but this time it involves a domestic animal. A cat showing strange behavior near Boxwood Drive and Mercer Mill Brown Marsh Road in Elizabethtown tested positive. The first case involved a raccoon. Rabies is fatal but preventable, so be sure your pets are vaccinated. In a few weeks, Union Rescue in Pender County may no longer be allowed to dispatch units to calls in their district in Willard. Pender County commissioners discussed the ongoing situation earlier this week. In September, Union Rescue Squad received an email from Pender EMS that stated a new contract had been sent to the station. State law requires counties to have plans which control how emergency medical services operate. The new contract would require Union Rescue, which is an all-volunteer station, to respond to 60% of all calls in their district. Chief Diane Gideon says this change would lead to a decline in volunteers for the station.
We would have to respond 60% of the time. With total volunteers, we cannot sustain volunteers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year here. So with that mandate, that will eventually cause our volunteers to say we can't continue to do that.
According to the letter from Pender EMS, the contract is non-negotiable and Union Rescue Squad has until January 22nd to respond and agree to it. Pender County commissioners also talked about allowing alcohol sales in county-owned properties during special events. The vote came about due to a proposal that would have brought a collegiate baseball summer team to Pender County. The team would have played games at Hampstead Kiwanis Park with alcohol sold during games. Current ordinances don't allow the sale of alcohol on county property. In a 4-to-1 vote, commissioners voted against the proposal while the proposed baseball team was tabled. But one commissioner who voted against the ordinance says he would support a similar one if it included ways for taxpayers to get a cut of the profits from those alcohol sales. Covering the Carolinas, Attorney General Jeff Jackson has filed a lawsuit against 6 landlords accusing them of working together and with a software company to inflate rental prices across North Carolina. Combined, the 6 landlords own or manage over 70,000 units in the state. 2 of the companies, Greystar Real Estate Partners and Willow Bridge Property Company, own a total of 14 properties in the Cape Fear, including in Wilmington and Leland. This lawsuit is part of Attorney General Jackson's ongoing case against the software company RealPage. According to the Attorney General's office, the landlords communicated with RealPage and each other to share non-public information about rent prices, occupancy, strategies for setting rents, and discounts. North Carolina's 2 Republican senators are not waiting until Donald Trump is inaugurated to introduce key parts of his agenda into Congress. Ted Budd and Tom Tillis have introduced the Laken-Riley Act in the Senate after the House passed it yesterday. The bill would require federal officials to arrest undocumented or illegal immigrants who commit theft, burglary, larceny, or shoplifting offenses and keep them detained until they're removed from the U.S. The bill is named after a 22-year-old University of Georgia nursing student who was murdered on campus last year. Tillis and Budd also reintroduced the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which would keep biological males from playing women's sports or risk losing federal funding. North Carolina's public inauguration ceremony for new Governor Josh Stein and other elected officials was scheduled for Saturday. It has now been canceled because of an approaching winter storm. Stein and several Council of State members already have taken their official oaths in private or in small ceremonies. With the start of 2025, many of us are prioritizing our mental health in the new year. Shayna Frank is a licensed counselor to Laura Rise in Wilmington. She believes in easing into the new year and giving yourself grace, making small changes that can improve your mental health. She calls this approach habit stacking, adding simple actions to tasks you already do. This can include taking a 5-minute walk during your lunch break or writing down things you're grateful for each morning. While Frank says everyone can benefit from prioritizing mental health, she also shares some signs that it might be time to seek help.
Maybe you find yourself like throughout the day, like just not really being present, not enjoying the things you used to enjoy, right? So like that's often a sign that, okay, like maybe there's some mild depression. If you're finding it harder to concentrate on at work or on school assignments, like if you're having a hard time to feel motivated to do the things that are typically easy for you.
If you're in need of a therapist in our area, look for the Psychology Today link with this story. It's on our website, wwaytv3.com. And we're asking tonight, have you ever seen a health professional virtually using telehealth? 13% say yes, and they liked it. 67% say yes, they didn't like it. 20% say they haven't tried it. Thanks to everyone who's voted so far. If you would like to vote, just scan the QR code on the top of your screen or head to our website. Ahead on WWAY News at 11, massive wildfires roaring through the Los Angeles area have left neighborhoods in ruins, killing at least 5 people and threatening famous Hollywood landmarks. And hundreds of Americans paying their respects to former President Jimmy Carter as he lies in state at the Capitol. Details ahead about tomorrow's state funeral.
It is going to be a very cold start to our Thursday morning as temperatures will be down to the 20s, and tomorrow only reaching the upper 30s to about 40 degrees. So the cold weather lingers tomorrow with sunshine, but a storm's going to come in for Friday night. We'll detail what's ahead for that coming up.